views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everyone, welcome of the Dr. Bob Lee, and you are welcome to Open BXRX. We're wide open and we got it going on just for you. Coming up on today's show, we'll give it to you like we owe you something. In fact, we'll speak to the director of an organization that is leading the way for professional development in the field of education. After that, we'll be joined by a pediatric medicine specialist who will give us some important information on how COVID may be already impacting the future of our community. Then we'll check in with the local social entrepreneur and founder of an organization aiming to revolutionize our local food system. And then Bobby C. Kaboom steps into the room with the latest in the world of sports. And then finally, we'll speak to a representative of an organization and school that are honoring the past while shaping the future of our world. So you have it. It's all right there. Kick off your shoes and relax your feet, and we'll kick it right to you because we are wide open. Hey everyone, I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. I'm your host, and you're watching Open. It's that live interactive program that brings the Bronx, New York City straight to your TV set. You can stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Now, leading things off, our first guest is the director of St. John's Fisher College, the Executive Leadership EDD program, and she's joined by an alumni of the program to highlight how impactful it has been developing leaders in the field of education. It's a wonderful thing. So please welcome to the show, Dr. Josephine Moffett and Dr. Gretta Strong. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So tell us about this wonderful program that you guys are engaged in or working with.
Thank you very much for inviting us, first of all, Dr. Lee. The St. John Fisher Doctoral program is an incredibly unique program, one that was founded about 15 years ago by Dr. Sam Walton, who was the Deputy Commissioner for New York State Education Department. He was also the first African-American man in that position. And what he found was that when he became the founding Dean of St. John Fisher Education Department, what he found was that he could not hire enough minorities or women as faculty because he just couldn't find them. They just were not applying. Yeah. And when he did a little bit of research, he found out that programs were not suited and put together to support. So our program is really very strongly suited to support the mid-level educator or executive leader who is looking to advance in their field. So It is a very different kind of program in how it is situated and put together.
And can you describe the goals of the program and how many students it services?
Hey, well, I can tell you that just from the site that we are in right now, which is the Lower Westchester site on the campus of Iona College, we have serviced over 200 students. It is not a new program, so we have been around and we've been very, very successful in being able to graduate over 90% of our students who apply, which is an incredible graduation rate. Yeah. Our goals really are to make sure that we provide the kind of support that will allow students to finish a program in an unusually short period of time. It is a very, very rigorous program, but you actually can finish it in 28 months, which is very, very different than the 4 to 10 years, which most programs are put together and to finish. And if you remember your experience and I remember mine, it took me a little longer than that.
And you're there with Dr. Gretta Strong, and she's been strong in education. She wears a number of hats. Tell us your position and what you're doing, Doctor.
Okay, so my position is as an assistant professor of community outreach teaching in neurology at Weill Cornell Medicine. So that is my main position, and I also act as an adjunct professor at Metropolitan College of New York.
Yeah, and then you're really rolling when we were off camera. You were telling us about a number of things that you that you have a title for.
Yes.
Tell us about.
Yeah, so I'm also the chair of diversity, equity, and inclusion in my department at Weill Cornell Medicine. I chair a community outreach business resource group under the Office of Institutional Equity. And I am also involved in quality administration.
And tell us about your experience at the St. John Fisher College.
I had a wonderful experience.
Program.
Yes, it was amazing to be in a program where you sat with 29 other doctoral students, and it's, you know, the level of thinking and the level of concern for self and community was amazing. The environment was very inclusive, very engaging and nurturing. And that to me was one, you know, these were some of the hallmarks of the program that I'll never forget.
Yeah. And this is suitable? You have a full-time job also, right?
I do have a full-time job.
People who are working?
Yes, but we had classes on Friday evenings and Saturday mornings. And I believe that if someone wants to get ahead, you know, that they must, you know, make a certain amount of sacrifice.
Exactly.
Yeah, but there we would go and we would have lunch with each other on a Saturday. So the environment was conducive to learning, you know, and being with a cohort of buddies who were like-minded. So you know, I think these are the things about a program like this that you could never ever get anywhere else. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, wonderful. Dr. Moffett, tell us, what are some of the requirements for applying for this particular program?
Okay, before I get into the requirements, if I could just say that this is the other reason that it's so very different, this kind of a program, is that we also focus on many different leadership positions. So that my background is pre-K-12 education, and I left as a superintendent. So it just doesn't encourage people who have my background or Gretta's background in higher education. We have many people from the nonprofit sector, criminal justice. So we have chiefs of police, we have CEOs in the program, we have people who have graduated and they are presidents of universities and superintendents. So they're from many, many different fields, and the linchpin is social justice, which is strong in our program. And also the linchpin is executive leadership. And so we look for those kinds of qualities in our students. So you asked originally, what are the requirements? The requirements are that you have a master's degree. You need to have a master's degree from an accredited institution. You also should have some kind of leadership in your background. Now that leadership can be in a very traditional kind of sense. Like as I said before, we have people who lead departments, or you know, they might lead a hospital, or, you know, that kind of thing. But we also have people who have been in charge of, let's say, the Girl Scouts or some kind of a nonprofit area, or who have been leaders in their church. And so we have many reverends who have graduated, Dr. Reverends who have graduated from our program. So it really is very, very unique. So we do require you to, you know, do your online application, pull together all of your references and your transcripts and all of that. We also ask for you to come in and meet with us, because we want to make sure that the fit is right, that the fit is right for you, and that the fit is right for us too. Because once we commit to accepting you into our program, we're also committing to doing everything that we can to make sure that you are successful and graduate from this program. This is not an ABD program. This is one where you come in and we make sure that you finish.
There you go. And what about financial aid? Do you offer it there, or you come in with, how's it paid for?
We do have some people who apply for financial aid. We have a fully functioning financial aid department, and they will go through the process with you. We also have a list of scholarships and grants that once you are accepted into the program, we do offer that to you and you can apply for that. Many of our people also are very, they are people who are movers and shakers. And so they come in and they look around for scholarships and they find ways of supporting themselves through this process. We have, and just as an aside, we have one young lady, her name is Dr. Carla Smith. She is going to be on the, you are supporting her, as a matter of fact, through the Bronx Net, through the Power of Women of Manhattan.
Yeah.
Yes, and she is one of the leaders that you were going to be featuring. And, they find a way to get through this program because they're such incredible people. Yeah.
And Dr. Strong, how long did it take you to finish again? Did you say 28?
28 months, yes.
28 months.
28 months. Rigorous. It's a train when it pulls out of the station, it doesn't stop. But I was ready for the ride, and I finished in 28 months.
And when you finish, how was that feeling? I mean,
it's a feeling
of completion.
You can't find words for it. I was exhausted, but I was elated at the same time. And I was ready to, continue on my journey. And the exposure and the depth of social justice that you learn about, looking at the world through political, economic, social, and technological frames. That was just amazing, to put that all together and to.
Are we going to be looking for you to run for something soon?
Oh, no, not at all. I am already in the running with my students, getting them to have a strong sense of social responsibility, So, I mean, that's my run, using one person at a time to make a big difference.
Wonderful. Thank you guys so much. Where can we go to learn more?
Well, you can go to our site, of course, and look under the St. John Fisher Executive Leadership EDD program. We are having an information session right here at Iona College on March 1st and online on March 8th. We're also having a Alumni Mixer. We have an incredible alumni network. And they are very supportive to us because they understand how much they have gotten from the program and they give back so much. So they are having a mixer on the 26th of February from 10 o'clock until 12. So if anybody would like to stop in and talk to us, we're more than happy to see them. On top of that, they can contact either me directly at Moffett, Moffett at St. John Fisher, sjfc.edu. We will give them the information. And we have so many people who are willing to, vouch and speak about our program. And we welcome people to come in and hear about us.
And all of that is on the website, right?
It's all on the website. Absolutely. And
the website again is?
Okay. It's basically, it's part of the St. John Fisher Executive Leadership Program, EDD.
Okay. John Fisher College EDD Program. Josephine, Dr. Josephine Moffett and Dr. Gretta Strong. Thank you guys so much.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Dr.
Thank you so much.
Got to pay you guys a visit.
Absolutely. Please come.
Yes.
We'd like to welcome you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thanks and you're always welcome to come back. You're part of the family now.
Well, we are Bronxites, both of us.
All right.
We feel very strongly that we are part of the family.
And thank you for your service. We'll take a break right here. More open on the way next. Welcome back, everybody, up to Dr. Bob Lee from 107.5 WBLS and BronxNet's Channel 67. And we have a fantastic show going on for you. And our next guest is a pediatric medicine specialist and the chief medical officer at the Children's Village. And she's here today to speak about the latest news on COVID variants and how that might impact our children. So please welcome to the show, Dr. Traci Gardner. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you. And thank you so much for having me. Happy to be here.
I've heard a lot about you. We have a lot in common. And they said you're doing some great things at the Children's Village, but please tell us about your experience working during the, during the heart of the pandemic. And it's been rough for a lot of people.
Yeah. So, when the pandemic first started, as most of you know, there wasn't a lot of information on what to do, right? Especially in child welfare settings. So we really had to figure out how to keep children who lived on our residential campus and the staff safe. Children's Village has 1,500 employees. So we have children that not only on our residential campus, but we have children in foster families. And we wanted to make sure everyone was safe. So one of the things that we ultimately did was create a policy around, which we called family clusters. And we made sure that all of the cottages, it's sort of set up in cottages, that the cottages became family clusters, just like everyone else did at home, and to mitigate any spread of the disease. And we were pretty successful with that. And I ultimately shared that with other child welfare communities throughout the nation and various other states.
So what should parents know about the impact of the latest COVID variants on their children?
I think there's a lot of information out there, and I think sometimes it can be confusing because it's in media snippets, right? So I think it can be tricky, and I think the first thing is to understand that a variant is just the virus's ability to mutate into something a little bit different than its original form. Yeah. And so I think Omicron, the newest variant, the first one was Alpha, Beta, they're all in the Greek alphabet. Omicron appeared to be a little bit milder to folks, but a lot more contagious, which is why even those who were vaccinated still got were still able to contract it, although they still did not, most of them did not, if not all of them, did not end up in hospitalizations or in ICUs or death. So from that perspective, the vaccine was still was very effective. But I think that people are they're unsure about where we go from here with other variants, and I think the virus is the one who gets to control that.
Yeah. What causes the different variants? People who are unvaccinated, or it just developing in people over and over again? Because some people had it 3 and 4 times already.
Yeah, so great question. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. So it is primarily in unvaccinated, because vaccinated folks have antibodies, and then some who might have some antibodies because they've had it recently, right? Yeah. And so the vaccinated person, the moment you get exposed to a variant, your antibodies kick in about the second or third day. So it doesn't allow the virus to replicate into another variant.
Oh, they're calling. They want to talk to you now.
Right? But the no problem. But the unvaccinated, they may not have antibodies, right? So what happens is that the virus is allowed to go through its full replication cycle, right? Because theirs doesn't kick in, their body doesn't rev up and kick in antibodies until it makes them, which is 10 to 14 days later. So the unvaccinated end up being the primary source for variants.
Yeah, and but you guys still have about 2,000 people a day dying in the country.
That's right. You're absolutely right. And my colleagues that are in pediatric ICUs, my colleagues that are in adult ICUs, they tell me that the people that they have in their intensive care units are unvaccinated folks. And I personally know someone who was unvaccinated and who recently passed away, and they ended up in ICU.
What do you tell people who are well, unvaccinated and just don't want to trust it. I don't want to put that in my body. I don't know what it is.
You know what? The first thing I do is tell them to talk to somebody they trust, right? And I mean that someone a medical professional, and specifically someone that they know sort of has a handle on it. And I always make myself available to, because there are people out there who want you to understand why it's important to get a vaccine, but you have to meet people where they are, and everybody has a different reason for why they don't want to take the vaccine. So I find that when I meet people where they are, I can get a better understanding of why they're saying no. Yeah.
What advice would you have for school officials, teachers, parents regarding health and safety for their children?
I think right now, and I think there's a lot of controversy about this because of what states coming out with saying that they're going to remove the mask mandates. And I think people need to understand, and again, this is part of like not being fully, I don't want to say transparent, but giving people the full scope of your thinking, right? So the reason why they're pulling back on the mask mandate is because they're saying, we don't think that the government needs to control this anymore, right? We don't need the government's hand on it, but that we feel that we've been in this for 2 years and people can govern themselves accordingly, and they understand that masks work. So the government doesn't have to mandate it. However, that doesn't mean that in places where you have people in close contact, that they still can get COVID, and we're still in the midst of this, even though right now we're in a lull. So I think people should still, and when they're going to school or in close spaces, they should still wear masks, social distance when possible, and hand wash, of course.
Yeah, because Delta's still out there also.
Yes, Delta's still out there.
Exactly. About Delta.
Right. Yeah, Delta's still out there. Right. We forget, right? Like Delta didn't decide to move away while Omicron was coming, right? That's not what happened. Like Delta's still here, Omicron is still here. And then there's a sub-variant of Omicron as well that is currently out there. It didn't fully change into something different. So we're still Omicron, but it's a little like it's a sub variant of Omicron. And so, yeah, they're all still out there. And you know, we are not going to fully get to where we need to be unless
this may be a situation where it's endemic instead of a pandemic. It's going to be with us for a while, right?
Yeah. I don't think, you know, I think, you know, my feeling is that it may not ever like fully go away. I think there was a window where in the beginning, well, here, let me say this. The window was when we first heard about this, right? In December of 2019, January, and what have you, and to activate the Defense Production Act, where we would have done what we needed to do so that it never got here in the first place, like Ebola, and SARS and MERS and all those other coronaviruses. That didn't happen. Then we needed, once we had the vaccine, we needed large numbers of people to take it. And I think because of some of the polarization around it and some of the misinformation, that didn't happen. And so the virus will have to mutate into something that is so weak that it becomes that people aren't dying from it at the rate that they are. Yeah, like a cold, right? Yeah, that'll have to happen.
So you work at this wonderful location. I know a lot about it. I have some experience with it. Tell us about the wonderful work that you're doing at Children's Village.
So I became the medical director and chief medical officer of Children's Village in 2019. Thank you. Thank you so much. And part of that work, representation matters. So I'm grateful to be able to be the first woman and the first person of color to hold this role. As you know, most of the children who are in foster care are children who are children of color, brown and Black children. And so I think one of the things that we wanted to do is to make sure that they get the medical care that everyone else gets. I owned a practice for 15 years, and my practice is in Westchester County. Our children deserve the same kind of care that I was giving people who were in Chappaqua and Thornwood and all these other places as they should get the same care that I was giving them. So I think that is the mission, that's the culture that we should, because they're more vulnerable, right? And so because they're more vulnerable, they need special care. And we also need to really focus on the trauma of being away from your family. And so, there's nothing normal about being in child welfare, but children are just, they're amazingly resilient. But we do have to build the structures around them. And I think we really work hard. We have a great group and a great mission, and we work really hard to do that.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Dr. Traci Gardner, thank you for all the work that you're doing at Children's Village and, in our community. We love you. We appreciate you, and you're always welcome back.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
Give us where can we go to get more information on you and Children's Village?
You can go to the Children's Village website, and that's you can just put in the Children's Village. It'll come up. It's childrensvillage.org. My email is tgardner@childrensvillage.org. There's an S between children and village. I do have an Instagram. Dr. Traci G, TRACI-G.
Traci G. Sounds like a radio talk.
You know, right? It does, doesn't it? Right? Yep. And you can always email me or contact us at Children's Village. And I'm here and available.
Thank you so much. Dr. Traci Gardner, Chief Medical Officer, the Children's Village. We'll take a break. I've got more coming up next on Open. Welcome back, everybody. I'm the Doc Bob Lee. Another fantastic guest in line right now. He's on Open, and he's a social entrepreneur, environmentalist, eco-gastronomer, and he's here today to highlight the work that he is doing with the new NYC DC Fellowship and how his organization, ReBORN FARMS, will help create an equitable and eco-friendly food system in our community. So please welcome to the show, Henry Obispo. Henry, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah. As we get into it, you're doing a whole lot, and we thank you for all that you're doing for our environment and in our community. Tell us a little bit about your organization and what it's all about.
Yeah, so I've been working in the South Bronx. I'm from the Bronx. Arrived to its shore at the age of 6 in the Dominican Republic, and I've always engaged in obviously the life in the Bronx, but once I became an adult, I realized that there was much more that I could do. And upon going to school and college, and then graduating from graduate school, I ended up really focusing on certain areas that really were impactful for me growing up. And many of them had to do with access and actually the lack of access that we have specifically in our community, specifically in the South Bronx, as it is considered the poorest urban congressional district in the country. And those are real realities when you grow up here. And I just was afforded the opportunity to also see the world and engage in ways that I can bring reference and context to the life also that we were living here. And that prompted me to think in ways of not just change, but thinking ways of how we could do things different. And we already knew the issues that we were having, but how do we approach them different? And so that's really how I started engaging in the community organizing and activism, and creating initiatives around food justice, and food sovereignty. And
you have that going on right now, or is that the goals for ReBORN FARMS?
Yeah, so that is why we were chosen to be part of this fellowship that the city EDC launched, this inaugural fellowship, the city fellowship, and it was really to look at issues in neighborhoods for people of color and BIPOC-owned initiatives that were focusing in tech. And so we have already started. We piloted the program about 4 years ago, and now we're scaling that program here in the South Bronx.
How will this impact the long-term success of immigrant BIPOC restaurant owners?
So the idea is that we would engage the entire community in this idea of food and this idea of sovereignty, this idea that you can empower yourself and through food. And it means empowering your community, but also economically. And so one of the ways that we seek to empower specifically BIPOC immigrant mom and pop owners or restaurant owners is to engage them so that they can engage in this idea of access, so that they could think of themselves just like a high-end restaurant somewhere can source this fresh produce and the most amazing organic stuff. Why can't they? And it's usually because there's an economic factor, but also it's not tailored for us. It's not tailored for them. And the difference with this project is that we center these people because that's the people that we want to engage with. It's not about the highest bidder. It's actually the very opposite. You are actually disqualified if you're the highest bidder. You need to be a person that didn't have access to be able to join in this project.
Yeah. And what does it mean, Henry, to be a food justicer?
It's really all-encompassing when you're focusing around many of the ideas I mentioned. And in many ways, you embody that. You live that. You not only, it's not only preaching, but it's really part of your lifestyle, and it really is part of your world, that it is how you see the world, and it is a revolution you want to see. So therefore, many of the things that you do or the components that you engage in life also are always in conjunction with these ideas of justice, of food, of access. They go hand in hand with everything that you do. So for me specifically, it is one and the same with anything that I do in life, whether, if I go on vacation, I'm thinking about those communities where I'm going on vacation. I'm engaging with people in those areas that may not have access, maybe bringing, the dollar to them. Or if I'm home, if I'm here, I'm engaging in collective activism around these ideas. I'm engaging with organizations. I'm creating initiatives. Every aspect of your life, for me, has that component. It's sort of the integral part of yourself that you take with you around these ideas.
And do you find that when you travel, you're looking for places where you can eat healthy? Because I know when I'm looking around, especially if you're on the highway, there's nothing really good that you can find that will, be good for you.
Definitely. There's so many. Growing up in the South Bronx, there were so many limits, and you had to do with what you had, and you had to be creative in many ways. And I find that I still do that, but now from a different perspective, because I'm vegan now, and sort of the idea of food means a little bit different, has a different meaning now for me than it did before, because I definitely need to seek out these places, specifically because it's part of my foundation in terms of how I decide to feed myself and what I decide to give my money to. So I'm very intentional with that. And sometimes you just don't find these places, and you end up, eating fruit for the entire day. I don't know.
Or you got to bring your own, right? You got to bring your own.
Yeah, you bring your own.
Or you come up with a company called ReBORN Juice.
or you come up with a company to be able to satisfy that for yourself and others.
That's right. Where can we find out about everything that you're doing on like a website or social media?
Yeah, definitely. You can go on our social media. It's called Born Juice. on Instagram and on Facebook. You can also reach us at our website, which is bornjuice.com, and also engage with me on Instagram. You can find me, you can search for me. And, soon to come as we launch all of the ideas that will fall within this project of ReBORN FARMS, we definitely welcome everyone to engage with us, to be a part of it, and to contribute however they can, because it takes more than just one person or one idea. It really takes us all to be able to move things forward and to shift this reality that we've been living in.
Henry, thank you so much. Thank you for all that you're doing to help keep our community healthy. Henry Obispo,
Yes, sir.
CEO, ReBORN FARMS. Thank you so much. Bobby
Thank
C.
you, Dr. Lee.
You're welcome so much. And Bobby C's up next. You're to sports?
Some.
All right, he's up next. Check this out. He's up next. He has the latest in the world of sports next.
Good morning, sports fans. Welcome to the Sports Corner. I have a longtime friend joining us this morning on the show, and that is Hoops in the Sun co-CEO Randy Cruz. Randy, what's going on, man? Great to see you.
Bobby C, my man, how you doing?
I'm doing great. It's usually that time of year, that summertime that we have you here on the show, but we have some, breaking news out of Hoops in the Sun, and that's that we've got a brand new winter league to share with the Bronx. Tell us a little bit more about what's going on with HITS right now.
Yeah, so we got the Winter League going on. We started week 1 last week at Bronx Regional High School. We go to April 3rd every Saturday and Sunday. All are welcome. It's free. We got the middle school boys divisions going on. We got the Unlimited Pro women's and men's divisions going on. So it's kind of a throwback to what we did a long time ago for our spring league to kind of, introduce new teams to trying to get into the summer league and try to find some new talent, young talent to come out there and play at Orchard Beach in the Bronx, which this summer will be season number 22, which means season 21 for you, Bob, because you've been there just as long as me. So you're a longtime veteran there. You're a Hall of Famer there. But I think, it really feels good to, shake the cobwebs off and get some basketball back in the city. And, first time ever doing a winter league. It's going good so far. Got some great teams. And just trying to create an atmosphere that we can create a all year round programming, which is really the ideal goal for us to do something not only in the summertime, but also in the fall, winter, and spring coming up.
And it just means that we're both old. I mean, I'm starting to get a little.
I didn't want to say that, but that's why I said you're a veteran, man. You're a veteran.
Veteran. That's a nice way of saying old man. I got how it is. Well, I think, I know our fans here in the Bronx, because we've obviously chronicled the league for so many years on BronxNet. In fact, even those first couple of years, having the games on the station and televising the broadcast that way. And but, for those that may be checking in with us for the first time, before we get a little bit more into the Winter League, was going to kind of recap a little bit of how we got there. So over 20 years, tell us a little bit more about how the league started here in the Bronx.
I tell everybody the same story. Like my dad had a vision. He grew up being a basketball player, basketball fan, and he was a regional sales manager for Jennifer Convertibles, a big time sofa bed company at the time. And one week he just said, he has to go out to California and do some work. And on a day off, he happens to walk by Venice Beach and sees the basketball games or tournament, just the atmosphere, the boardwalk, the Pacific Ocean, the restaurants, people skateboarding, just a weird but great atmosphere. And in his mind, he was like, listen, I think I can recreate that in New York, but at Orchard Beach in the Bronx. And Orchard Beach is really our second home. And so my dad and my mom took my brother and I, Joe, to Orchard Beach every summer when we were little children. and that happened to be the only ideal place he wanted to do a tournament. So when he came back from the trip, he just said, "Listen, I think we could do a basketball tournament. We all watch basketball. We all know what we're doing. I think it'd be a great idea." At the same time, my dad was also helping out Ray Diaz at the Nike Pro City tournament at Hunter College from 97 to 99. And then, he got some feedback from Ray Diaz. He got some feedback from a longtime school friend, Earl Manigo, and just kind of learning the ropes. And lo and behold, we had some early meetings with the Parks Department in 2000, I think February or March. And we started off as just a 8-team men's division, steel backboards and breakaway rims. And at the time, they did renovation back in 2000. And we morphed the following year into the women's and, youth league. And now, Bob, when you fast forward 22 years, we have over 55 teams. Majority of them are youth. We only have 8 men's. We got the high school girls, the high school boys. We got middle school boys and girls. So it just morphed into something bigger than than myself or my brother couldn't even imagine. So it's a long time. It's a long process. It's not easy, as you know, because you're there every summer. But yeah, that's pretty much the story of how the tournament got created.
Hey, Randy, what a legacy for you, your brother, for your dad, for your family, and all that legacy right here in the Bronx. Is just an incredible story to tell about how Hoops in the Sun has provided community basketball for so many youngsters. And some of those youngsters, of course, have gone on to play professionally, whether it's overseas or in the NBA. Notables like Kenny Satterfield and Kimball Walker and Smush Parker, and more recently even Obi Toppin here for the Knicks.
Yeah, man, I think that's the beauty of it. You see these kids, just on the 5 feet away on the court adjacent. And like you said, Kenny Satterfield, Dwight Hardy, Isaiah Washington, a.k.a. Jellyfin, and Obi Toppin, and these guys, they come in year in year out as young children. And you see them prosper in grade school and in high school, and you see the potential. Like, man, if he goes to the right school, the right D1, and gets the right playing time, this kid could be a potential star, and not only in college but also the NBA. And Obi's a great example of that. Like, 2-3 years in Dayton, and now he's a first-round draft pick, number 8 pick with the Knicks, and seeing that legacy with his dad. His dad played in the tournament when it all started in 2000, MVP championships, and you see like how he was there, and also the other son Jacob was there. So it's funny because they always used to run around at halftime just to shoot around or try to win some prizes, and now you're looking up to both of them now. So I think. And it's always good that the kids come back. They never forget where they came from or where they started. So the guys like Kimba and Obi and those guys always come back to the tournament, show some love. They may not play as much because we know how it is with the concrete and they're getting paid millions of dollars. But just to have them come back and show love every single summer and see the kids that are now playing in the youth league to kind of look up to both of them.
And Randy, obviously the pandemic, affected Hoops in the Sun in 2020 and summer of 2020, but you guys were able to rebound last year. And tell us a little bit about how you and your brother were able to not only take things into the spring league action, but now put together another wonderful program for the kids in the wintertime.
Well, I think the pandemic really made everybody kind of self-reflect and to see how we all can do better in our jobs, personal lives, and stuff like that. And one thing was, not having any street ball tournaments in 2020 was like, me, I get bored quick. It's summertime. What am I going to do? And my brother and I really sat down one day. It was like, listen, all right, there's no tournament. What can we do to kind of service the kids who were playing in the tournament or just a fan of the tournament in the neighborhood? And we created this combine workout kind of thing at the beach. We call it the Summit. And basically it's you get a workout in the sand, do some basketball drills. At the time, there were no rims put back up at that time. So back in July of 2020, they put the rims back up. And it's like, boom, we can really do something. Just, you know, wear the mask and just kind of be safe. And we got basketball drills, we got boxing, yoga, mental health speakers, and obviously the sand workout. So once that was created, it kind of really made me and Joe and the staff kind of look at the beach like, all right, what else can we do here? We always utilize the basketball courts, but we never really, you know, utilized the venue to our advantage. We always was there June, July, August, and we leave. And now it's like, all right, maybe we can be here in March, April, May, June, July, and August, September, October. So we can build a 6-7 month program, which leads into our all year round programming idea. And I think that's been one of the most integral parts of the tournament now. It's under our umbrella. People who don't play in a tournament or want to get a workout, they become a part of the summit program. Some kids who were there 2 years ago are now trickling into the summer league, which is a great thing. So if the pandemic doesn't hit, then the summit is not created. So it just really opened our eyes to see how can we expand our brand, not saying doing a different tournament, but doing different stuff with the brand. So the summit has been real, one of my favorite things added so far.
That was part one of our interview with Hoops in the Sun co-CEO Randy Cruz. Tune in next Monday for part 2.
We built a media network for you.
BronxNet TV.
Come learn in your new state-of-the-art studios at Lehman College.
At Mercy College.
And coming soon to the South Bronx in the Hub.
Inspire with your stories, culture, history.
Your Bronx on BronxNet.
Engage with us.
Connect with us at your channels and at bronxnet.tv.
Learn, engage, inspire. BronxNet TV.
From the Bronx
to the world.
BronxNet.
Welcome, everybody. Welcome back. Our next guests are the program manager and curriculum designer for Global Girls Leading Our World, the co-creator of the Empathy Across Cultures curriculum, and the program coordinator for the Bronx Academy of Letters. They join us today to speak about their joint effort to celebrate Black History Month through their Empathy Across Cultures curriculum and to share the work that Global G.L.O.W is doing to empower girls. So please welcome to the show Benta Freeman, Frances Herrera, and Olivia Jaffe-Pachulo. Welcome to the show, guys.
Hi, thank you so much for having us. It's a pleasure.
So you're doing some great things to bring people together, moving in the same direction for a common cause. Tell us about it.
Okay, I can begin. So yes, my name is Benta Freeman, and I'm a program manager of international programs at Global G.L.O.W. And yeah, we created this curriculum, myself and Olivia, to shed light on the lived experiences of Black individuals in this country and around the world, and also have girls have the opportunity to learn that history and connect with one another based on it and build empathy and solidarity because of it. So yeah, we're very excited to have it launched. This is our 3rd year. And happy to have so many people interacting with it.
Olivia?
Yeah, so I'm Olivia Jaffe-Pachulo, and I'm a program coordinator here at Global G.L.O.W. I help manage a partnership portfolio of wonderful partners around the world, including partners like Frances. And I really love that part of my job. I also help organize our trainings and do things like write this curriculum, as well as work with our advocacy programs like our Girl Advocacy Committee. And that's the bulk of what I do. I really love that I get to participate in the co-creation of this curriculum. Benta really covered it in terms of the eagle eye view of what we're trying to do with it. But I really, one thing that I really love about what we've been able to do over the course of 3 years with this curriculum is to get feedback from our partners who are using this curriculum like on the ground around the world and be able to alter it and make it suit their needs better and address the issues that are most relevant to their communities. Because we're working in communities that are more homogenous, less homogenous, interacting with like folks where the main issue is really like tribalism or like ethnic differences. We're really trying to give a curriculum that is open enough for everybody to engage with it based on what their local context is. And our partners then are the people who take it and make it relevant to them as best as possible. But I'm really proud that we've been able to bring it into a place where people are more easily able to do that, and that we're building this idea that girls should support each other across all types of difference and be willing to show care and empathy for each other. That's the bottom line to me too.
And this is a tag team, you know, from Benta to Olivia to Francis. Francis, tell us about your part.
So I have been an educator for almost 8 years. I'm actually going to my 9th year of education. I recently just got a second master's so that I can move on up to become a principal.
All right.
This program has actually helped me become more of a role model for those girls that have been following me for the last 4 years. I've been running G.L.O.W as an after-school program in the South Bronx, and it has been such a pleasurable experience. G.L.O.W has given me a chance to actually give more experiences to students that are just like me, growing up in rough neighborhoods, and it has been a wonderful experience.
Yeah. Olivia, you mentioned partnerships. Who are some of the partners that you guys are working with?
That's a great question. So we work with over 50 partners in 27 different countries around the world.
Wow.
So it can either be, it's a big, it's global. So we have partners that are both school-based organizations and nonprofits. So, you know, we're reaching communities wherever we have a good fit with a partner whose, you know, mission is really aligned with ours, which is to advance gender equity with a girl-led approach and strengthen communities.
Yeah. How many schools are you working with right now?
So we work in 2 schools in the Bronx, about 12 schools in the United States, and as Olivia shared, numerous hundreds of schools around the world.
Yeah. And the Bronx Academy of Letters and G.L.O.W, they formed a Black History Month curriculum. How did that take place?
So as curriculum developers here at G.L.O.W, you know, we're constantly creating new things and wanted to introduce new topics to our program offerings. So we know that we work predominantly in communities of color where young Black and Brown girls are interacting with our resources. So we wanted to create something where they feel directly represented, where they feel seen, where they feel heard. So this curriculum both shares the history of the Black experience in America, but also brings in those moments of healing and understanding of shared experiences. Having it in at BAL was, you know, we wanted that experience for those girls as well, because we know of the demographic in the Bronx and how, unfortunately, these topics are not always taught and talked about. So introducing this is something that we wanted to do.
Yeah. Olivia, how has the curriculum helped students at the Bronx Academy of Letters?
Oh, I have to pass that one right off to Francis.
Yeah, so we've been actually working with this curriculum for about 3 years now. And we've gone over stories of self. Students have actually, you know, discovered their identities through the use of the Black History Month curriculum. We actually had students talk about colorism. We have students that actually wanted to find out more about where they came from. Mm-hmm. And they think it's like really important because they don't get Black history curriculum in their regular studies. So they look forward to actually participating in that when they come to after school.
Mm-hmm. How can people assist G.L.O.W in its mission to impact young girls? That's a toss-up. Anybody can grab that.
Okay, I'll grab that. So one of the biggest things that we promote, just the baseline that we're hoping for anyone, is to start or continue listening to girls. We really believe that girls know what they need, and it's our responsibility as adults to actually listen to them and do
Yeah.
something with that information they give us the gift of providing us. So I think that's the number one thing we hope that people take away, is to recognize girls' power and take it seriously. And then just in terms of, we're a nonprofit organization, $5 can provide a week of G.L.O.W Club to a girl. So donating is one of the best ways that you can help support our mission and continue to provide a safe space for girls to discuss topics like Black History Month, empathy across cultures, and more.
Bento, what are some of the goals of G.L.O.W? I know you got some big ideas of where you want it to go, and you guys are meeting and all of that stuff. And I think you're doing some wonderful things in our community, and we love it. Where do we go from here? What does it look like?
Well, we want to continue the work that we are doing, deepening that work, expanding that work. Continuing to expand globally and reach more girls and communities, and specifically, deepen the work that we are currently doing in the Bronx, and allowing for girls and partners to be a part of our program development. We want to definitely allow for their voices and their perspectives to shine more in the way that we develop and create the program that they, directly benefit from. So having girl-led voice in our programming, expanding more and having a wider reach, and really amplifying their voice and giving even more moments for advocacy for them and for them to advocate for themselves.
People wanted to go online or something like that, and what are some of the ways to donate? I'm trying to help out where we get some people to send some money, or
definitely donors choose, and I think G.L.O.W accepts donations as well too.
Yeah, our website is www.globalgirlsglow.org, and we also have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter.
Okay. Any final words you want to let our audience know?
Happy Black History Month.
There you go. Happy Heart Month, Black History Month,
yes,
Fashion Week, Chinese New Year, the Year of the Tiger.
Yes, all of that. A month of celebration. It's a pleasure and an honor to be a part of this curriculum as a woman of color, to see myself reflected in this curriculum and allow for other young girls to see themselves reflected as a true honor. So I'm just very grateful.
Thank you guys so much. You guys, Francis, Benita, Francis, Benta, Olivia, thank you so much for being a part of this, and thank you for all the wonderful work that you're doing in our community. We bless you, and we hope that you continue to do all that great work. So, you're welcome to come back on as always.
Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And keep the glow.
Thank you.
That about does it for me. Thank you so much. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking it out. I'll see you over 107.5 WBLS radio. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice and let your choice control your chooser. I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. For all of us here at BronxNet, have a great and enjoyable day. We'll catch you another day, another way. We love you all.